People often say to me, how did you become a futurist? Well, you know what? I didn't even know I was one until the Wall Street Journal called me one, or, this is what happens. The media give you labels which often go beyond the reality even. So one day I discovered that I was a futurist. How did that happen? Well, it happened through book writing, which is quite a common way in for many people. Books by themselves don't mean anything, but when you do a book, you have to do an enormous amount of research. In fact, I often have said that with the 12 books I've written, that one of the ways I know that I need to write another book is when I have to condense a lot of thinking in my head and clear out all kinds of filing cabinets and press cuttings and Google files and everything else as well. And you condense stuff in, you clarify, and you produce some strong statements about what's happening, and maybe an opinion. So that's how Futurism started for me. I've written books on all kinds of different things, ranging from medical stuff, because my background is as a physician. I'd written on AIDS, on drugs, on cloning, on biotechnology. Then I'd added books on politics, on the digital society, and so on. And one day the phone rang, and I'd had a certain amount of lecturing and talking in the past, but when I'd written my 10th book, the phone started to ring more. And it was companies saying, can you come and talk to us about one of your books? And I'd say, well, which one? I said, well, and they'd say, well, how many have you written? I'd say, well, 10. They'd say, well, what are they all about? And I'd say, well, I guess they're all about the future in one way or another. And then they'd say, well, I guess you better come and talk about them all. Then come and talk about, the big future. And so I started giving general views of the future, which were tailored specifically to each organization, their culture, the competition, their consumers, and so on, but in a wider framework, because that is really where the greatest insights come from. It's breaking people out of their narrow box into a broader context. And so I would say, if you want to be a futurist, then read, research, and book writing can be the best calling card in the world. And websites are also extraordinarily helpful. Why? Because they're tomorrow's books, really. They are the books of the age, of the e-age, and they're community spaces where you interact with people. And whether it's YouTube or more traditional magazine type format, or whether it's blogs, comment on the future, which is insightful and helpful, will attract attention. And you will be proven quickly, helpful or not, by your track record, and there it will be to haunt you for the rest of your days. If you said that you think X, Y, and Z is a realistic possibility and that people should invest time and effort to meet that possibility in case it happens, then you'll be judged by what happens, by whether people accepted it, whether they didn't, whether things turned out that way or not. And people will forgive one or two mistakes, but you better be on track quite a lot of the time. Now, people say, how can you predict the future since the future is so uncertain? Well, if that was the case, then there would be no businesses at all. Every business is built based on a future and the idea that a future can be predicted. Let's take a retailer that opens a small corner shop. If they've got any sense, they'll have looked at the situation. They'll have looked at the current situation. They'll have said there are needs in the area. But they will also have looked at the future situation. They will have thought to themselves, I wonder what the other shops will do. I wonder if there's any major chain that's going to come in here. And they'll have tried to do some research. They'll have tried to get their minds around new trends. They'll have, for instance, decided, well, there's no point in opening a DVD store because DVDs, that's history. What's coming next? And so on, and so on, and so on. Every business breathes and lives future if it's to stay in business. And those that get it wrong several times in a row are usually busted. So that's how you become a futurist. Stay close to the action, listen and watch, sit in cafes, get out, have a life, do things that are interesting, go and travel, and wherever you are, watch, listen, smell the air, look for what's really happening. Say, did you see that story there? In the market, watch what's going on, in the streets, on the trains, what are people doing, what are they reading, why are they doing what they're doing, how are they behaving, what are they dressed like, what's happening online. Listen, and listen most of all to those who are making the future happen. Those who are at the cutting edge of their own industries, those that are highly innovative, and get inside what they're planning and what they're excited about. And often you'll find invaluable insights. They're not going to give you company secrets, but they'll give you general insights into the way the world is evolving and what they think people will be interested in doing in future. And you put all that together with all the other things that you read and accumulate, and process it all, and out will come, hopefully, useful insights, which will be helpful to companies that want to work with you.